everyone, Happy New Year's, and I think the community does a really great job of letting Bungie know things that we aren't enjoying about the game currently, but maybe we don't do a good enough job telling Bungie what we do like. And I think these are equally as important when, trying to inform their future decisions. And so, heading into the new year, I want to give a concise list of my favorite 7 things from Destiny 2 in the year of 2022 and just have some fun with it. Now, before we begin, 40% of everyone who watches my channel is not subscribed, and that's a shame because it's literally free. And I, think we make some pretty good content. So if you'd like to support the channel, help us to get to 100,000 subscribers, that would be awesome. But let's just go ahead and get into it. So number 7, for instance, this is a great example. The Rolk boss fight. Now, I think Vow of the Disciple didn't age as well as I would have liked it to, especially because of that intro segment. But one thing about the raid that constantly gets me excited is how dynamic the Rolk boss fight is and how different it is from pretty much anything else in Destiny. You have, this boss that is constantly a threat, walking around, and you're having to constantly move while doing DPS. You can't really sit still that well. He has multiple attacks. I think it is a great step forward into more of like MMO mechanics when it comes to boss fights. And I think it was done incredibly well to shake up the meta a little bit and cause players to think a little bit more than just boss fights that require you to sit in a well and shoot at a stationary target. So I think the Rolk boss fight was awesome. I just want to give the team props for that. Number 6. People aren't going to like this, but I do. The derelict Leviathan patrol space. Now, Season of the Haunted had some pretty big issues. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. There wasn't a lot of content. Nightmare containments sucked. The story missions were whatever. But one thing that I really appreciate is, although, it sucks we didn't get things like the Tribute Hall back and the Leviathan raids back, which I adore, all 4 of them. I love that Bungie was taking new approaches to seasonal content and trying out something new. And I, for one, really liked that they brought the Leviathan back as a patrol space. And they changed it up. They hid secrets in there. There are all sorts of secret triumphs and little mini events you could do and stuff. I think they did it incredibly well. I think it looks amazing. I think the space feels really good. And if Nightmare Containment was better, I feel like it would have been received a lot better. But because most of the time that people were spending on the Leviathan was doing Nightmare Containment and people didn't like Nightmare Containment, I think that inadvertently kind of tainted how people saw the derelict Leviathan patrol space. I really liked it. I thought like the red border loop was really good for the menagerie weapons, for instance. And I'm really sad that this patrol space is actually gonna probably leave at the end of this year whenever Lightfall launches. But this is something I want to see more of. These kind of different approaches to seasonal content, I think, is what is going to keep the seasonal content fresh going forward, so we don't just stagnate when we get the same type of content every season. Number 5, the events were actually pretty good this year. So if we think about all of the events we had, Guardian Games, Solstice, Festival of the Lost, and the Dawning, they were all pretty good. And weirdly enough, for probably the first time ever, the Solstice is probably what I would consider to be the worst event this year. And by that, I mean, it just didn't really change that much. And all the changes that it did have were kind of bad. Like, I didn't like Bonfire Bash in the European aerial zone. Can we just get a new area for Solstice? Like that sort of stuff. I didn't find it that rewarding. The armor sets were fine. That sort of stuff. But Guardian Games getting a complete 180 change to be more of like a competition in strikes and that sort of thing. That was really fun. Festival of the Lost had some banger weapons. The themes were awesome. The haunted sectors were pretty good. I like them, at least. I didn't think they were too much of a pain to grind. The title was a little bit too much, but whatever. And then Dawning, I think, has been the best event this year. Incredibly rewarding. Very streamlined. Everything just kind of works with the Dawning. And the most important thing, I think, is that the Dawning was towards the beginning of this season. So when you save events towards the end of the season, we've already grinded out everything we want. We've already played 1 million hours in that season. And so when you're like, here's an event, you have to go do it again, it can get very tedious. And so by front loading the events where you are just discovering this content and you're getting additional rewards for it, it feels very good. So huge props on the events team, whoever makes those. I hope we see more evolution of that going forward. In the next years. Events tend to stagnate, and I don't want them to do that. Keep evolving them, keep adding rewards, keep making them better. But I'm pretty excited to see the future of those. Number 4, I just put secrets in all caps, but really by secrets, there were only a couple. The Witch Queen Collector's Edition had an ARG, which was really fun. The Collector's Editions always have ARGs, and they're always really good. I love being a part of that community. We had the secrets for both King's Fall, which is the red border secret, and the Touch of Malice Catalyst, and then Vow, the red border secret for that as well. And then, of course, the best secret of them all, the Braytech Dog, Good Boy Protocol one that was just unlocked last week. Yeah, kind of a light year in terms of secrets in Destiny. We have had confirmation from the devs that they are dedicated to doing more in-depth secrets and additional secrets in the future. They've also said that data mines do not affect them doing secrets at all. So if you're one of the people saying that, stop, because they've already said that isn't the case. So we got only a couple of secrets. I thought they were pretty good this year. I'd like to see a lot more going forward, but they were still the highlights of the year, which I was pretty good. Number 3, Serif Station or the Serif Shield mission is fucking incredible. It is so good. It is probably, if we talk, people aren't going to like the comparison to Whisper and 0 Hour because it wasn't a secret mission or whatever, but in terms of the contents of the mission itself, Serif Station might be second only to Whisper for me. And Whisper, you know, there's a lot of that kind of, the experience was really cool. There's nothing like it in the history of Destiny, and it was really cool. But if you right now were like, hey, do you want to go run a Serif Station or a 0 Hour for the content of that mission? I think Serif Station wins, and it's definitely better than Presage. It's definitely better than Harbinger and the Vox Obscura. I think the Serif Station mission was done incredibly well. I love the mechanics. I love the length. I love, the moments like where you surrender your weapons and then you get them back. That's like just stuff like that. That is so completely different than anything we've ever done in Destiny. Is awesome. The unique falling animation in the jumping puzzle. Like, these are the things that make Bungie games. And they just leaned into it 100% with Serif Station. And I loved it, and I really hope we get more amazing seasonal missions, secret or not, preferably secret, but even if it's like this, it's freaking awesome. I love it. Please give us more. Number 2, the Witch Queen campaign was amazing. This was the first time I think the community as a whole really latched onto a campaign for a DLC. The legendary mode felt challenging. I loved that there were no champions and they replaced them with the Hive Guardians. That felt amazing. More dynamic ways to approach content, making it actually difficult, giving you different difficulty, selections, making them incredibly rewarding. You could skip like 3/4 of the power grind if you did the legendary version, which was awesome. The story was fantastic, and these are all things that I really hope go and lead very positively into the Lightfall campaign, which we're only a couple of months away from. And I hope they can recreate a lot of the beats and the feelings that the community felt around this campaign, because it was truly fantastic. Now, some quick honorable mentions. Catch Crash. People aren't going to like that. People didn't really like Season of the Plunder, but Catch Crash is one of the best seasonal activities I think we've ever gotten, especially as of late. I mean, it's pretty much a menagerie light, so it's very similar to something like Sundial or Astral Alignment. There you go. It was good. I feel like Catch Crash was very much hurt by the fact that most of the seasonal content that you had to do was actually expeditions, which sucked. They were so bad. And because Catch Crash was in that loop, I think a lot of people don't like Catch Crash as much, but Catch Crash was great. I thought it was pretty rewarding. The legendary version was really good. I loved all the encounters. The aesthetic was great. The rotating bosses were pretty fun. I think Catch Crash was honestly an 8 or 9 out of 10 for, compared to seasonal activities that we've gotten in the past. Expeditions, axe them, get rid of them, they suck. The dungeons were pretty good. Duality and Spire of the Watcher, they both have their issues. There were some buggy things, and the loot was pretty good on them. I think people as a whole are going to like the loot of Spire of the Watcher better just because of the theme, but all in all, 2 great experiences. They had many secrets of their own and stuff. They were pretty good. And then I didn't want to put this as an actual thing, so I put it as an honorable mention. The Lightfall reveal, it would seem weird that one of the best parts of this year was the reveal of next year, but the fact, like, I don't think anyone saw the rebrand coming. So like when Lightfall was initially advertised, it was very dark, very, very dark. And then they completely 180'd that, and they're like, actually, it's synthwave and 80s vibe, and you are gonna be going in a neon city, and it's really high octane and stuff. I think that was a really cool fake out and a really cool change, and I'm very excited for Lightfall. And then the final honorable mention is just gonna be the 3.0 subclasses. They kind of have ravaged PvP a little bit, but in PvE, it is undeniable that they are just so much fun. It has completely changed how PvE plays. The ad density can be way higher because we are way more powerful, and I can't wait to see how they iterate on our abilities going forward. And then number one, the best thing I think that happened this year was the King's Fall remake was goddamn near perfect. And I didn't like King's Fall in Destiny 1. I thought the back half of the raid was a slog, but Bungie addressed pretty much everything I had wrong with it, you know, and I think that's really cool. I thought Touch of Malice was an awful exotic. I don't think it's the best exotic in Destiny 2, but they always changed it and they made it, you know, more exotic. They made it have a unique functionality. The Orcs and the Sisters boss fights are 1,000,000 times better in Destiny 2. They're not a slog, especially the Orcs boss fight. I thought in Destiny 1 that was one of the worst things ever. It was great as a first time experience, but every subsequent time you did Orcs, it got worse and worse and worse and more tedious. In Destiny 2, you don't have that problem. It's amazing. I love all the changes to Golgoroth. Perfect changes, by the way. War Priest, just everything. I think they did an incredible job remaking King's Fall and really answering all of the community's wishes with King's Fall. So yeah, King's Fall is going to be number one. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Did I forget anything that you liked from this year? Let me know like your top 1, 3, 5, 20 favorite things from this year down in the comment section. I'm pretty excited to see what you guys think. Yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic New Year's Day, and I'll see you in the next one.